Okay, so I am drawing a little diagram of some of the major centers of activity in the US. Can you see that triangle? Now, I'm using some generic labels, so just bear with me, okay? But that triangle is indicating a powerhouse of goodness. For certain reasons I'm not actually going to go into, but some of you can deduce that. The other areas are only a few, only a handful of potential candidates that I've just happened to have chosen today. And what I want to do is to utilize some of this energy to neutralize some of those others. And I'm experimenting because that's what we need to do. We need to use all our tools, and working with sound, I want to demonstrate how sound is going to be effective on the quantum level. I may as well choose the target I want. And what is the target? I want to get rid of all those greys working in the bases. Not only the greys, there's greys and reptilians. A lot of the reptilians are gone. A lot of the greys are still there. And the interference that is run with the humans. So a lot of technological computer banks are used in those places, and they're influencing what we are doing, thinking, trying to utilize our energy. A lot of that stuff is not in the 3D realm, it's in the fourth dimension, etheric levels, but we can start with what we've got here and see what we can influence. So bear with me. So I've just done a whole lot of drawing thinking I was being recorded, and it wasn't. So I just turned this from a human. There was a little person. Can you see this person here? It was a person with their auric field looking at this energy. Supposedly we're taught, well, you know, New Age teaching, that this is source energy coming in, this is earth energy, and the shift, the movement, the flux is what holds us together as a being and in this particular realm. And as this is intensified, the strength of it, so the allowance of this in and the allowance of this, you can increase your auric presence. Now, I then changed it to a magnet. That's why we've got this funny little overlay holding a computer at the same time. And said, okay, if it's a magnet, how do you intensify the field? If it's a magnet, you can just have a really supercharged piece of steel, or you use an electromagnet where there is a current moving through. And the stronger the current, the stronger the field. So the distance that it's traveling, the magnetic charge. And so I was pretending here's a little iron filing that gets drawn in now because this field is really big. So why am I saying that? Because here I am, I'm joking that I'm out here in the sheets, and I really want to come all the way across thousands of miles to the United States, somehow with the ripple effect of my quantum intention amplified by my sound. Let's just go quickly back to the amplification of sound thing. So look at the Joe Dispenza short. I'll put a link into that. Talking about old yogic practices of raising, tightening, utilizing the body muscles to take the energy from the base of the spine all the way up to activate the pineal gland. That was practiced in tantric sex. It's been practiced in different yogic practices, and it's what you need when you're making overtones. You have to use all levels of your abdominal muscles in order to produce the focus of the overtones. And when you produce overtones, you are activating your pineal gland, which we're taught is a transmitting organism, a very small transmitter with great power. And that is our thought connection, quantum amplification. It's the little crystal in the amplifier. If you took your amplifier apart, it would be our pineal gland. So it's our transmitter and receiver officially, although the bones are also receivers and transmitters because they're all crystalline too. Our bones have got apatite in them. Apatite, which is a crystalline structure, and that is also a transmitting receiving system. But we won't go into that too much. The pineal gland is this very, very sensitive. I think I need to look up the sound engineer's definition in an amplifier, but anyway, if you work in amplification, you'll understand what we're talking about. That is the thing that's transmitting a signal. So if you had the most sensitive frequency instruments, you could find that signal. And when you make a sound, there is a dilution, isn't there, into space. It's loud near you and it's quieter further away. It loses its power, its energy, the further it gets from you. It doesn't disappear though. It just loses its energy. So its ability to travel. High sound has a higher frequency and is able to travel further faster. Low sound, lower frequency, can't travel quite as fast. It's interesting, or quite as far, quite as fast. So the speed of sound is interesting in terms of pitch. We're looking for something that is not just about speed. We're looking for an instantaneous, some kind of transfer. And that's what quantum entanglement, quantum physics, quantum reality is about. It is non-local reality. So I can have a thought here, instantly, it will affect my beloved somewhere a long way away. How does that happen? Now that little moment of thought I had a little happiness charge to it. So it had a charge, a soul energy charge. The soul energy charge I give to my notes when I make them has the same ability. And I want to knock out their computers. What happens if their computers are knocked out? They can't influence us. What about if we did that every day for the next 2 weeks? That'd be fun. What would happen? There's one thing, a lot of people are threatened from doing certain things or not doing certain things because they say, hey, we've got a drone over your friend's house. We can take them out with a little burst of an EMF pulse. That's true, they can. They actually can. So it's not just used in old Afghanistan killing fields, it can be used in one's own territory. Now imagine if that capacity is no longer available. There's no threat. They have no threat. So that's one little basic thing of getting rid of someone or not. But we're actually under a system we need to get rid of. A system oscillating our thoughts, interfering with our thoughts, mediating our thoughts, enabling some people to stay in a world where they actually think Kamala Harris is somehow good, which is very bizarre to most of us who have real thoughts. It's not just about the United States, it's just that the United States are the forerunners of change. They always have been. By helping them, we help ourselves, wherever you are. New Zealand, Australia, England, those are the English-speaking places. And then there's the rest of the world too, all in this soporific programmed state by transmitted frequencies of the matrix, which we want to take out. We want to burst it. What about this? Now, my friends, Neptune and Pandora, they work with the sun. And the idea is to get the sun to make a pulse which knocks out all of this stuff, the 3 days of darkness thing, a transformative pulse which pushes the electron exchange system into a different density so that it's no longer running on the old dark system, the satanic mills, but it's running on a new uplifted system, where our consciousness has free flow again. So they're working with the sun. That's a clever idea, isn't it? Contact the consciousness of the sun, work with the sun, encourage the sun, enable as transmitters the quantum energy of the sun, and encourage this plasmic outburst of the sun to have interference. We could also work with each other, with the connection of the so-called 144,000. It's a few way more than that. But these old soul beings, the star seeds, all these funny nicknames we've been given, awakened beings, to have a network of a certain consistent quality of frequency, which is overriding the system. And therefore the negative frequencies can no longer prevail. Basically, there are many, many layers going on of backlash, of prevention, as these mechanisms that have been put in place for a long time by these dark satanic mills are coming to a halt. And it's just about finding more and new creative pathways to grind them to a halt and to reverse the polarity so that we as free sovereign beings can use a lot of these systems and recharge them with something entirely different: upliftment, love, goodness, generosity, kindness, just as we're seeing all over North Carolina, particularly with the relief work in the mountains of that horrendous outcast of the hurricane which was manufactured. Florida too. Beautiful outpourings of humanity. And it's beautiful for us to see. I'm going to use that word many times. Beautiful, beautiful, because it is. To feel and see and experience this outreach and outpouring of the human heart and how powerful it is. I'm just going to demonstrate some of the sounds that will work in the way that I've been describing to influence the weather and the elementals energetically. We'll do a low one. One of my favourite things to do is the retaliation. Everything they send off gets sent back. That's a source energy command. So anything they send off gets sent back. If they are sending out signals, intentions, programmings into their computer systems, what about if we get that sent, all of that intention that they're putting in as we speak right now, you listen and I'm speaking, that it gets sent back into their minds? What would it do to their circuitry? If you have something intent on harm and you're sending it out, they're used to expecting to be able to just do that, to send and have no recourse, no damage to themselves. What about if we say, no, 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 all of their thought signals now get sent back in upon them. So instead of going sent out, they get sent in. So they can't feel, but they can still experience the creative manifestation of catastrophe that they were sending out. So how would we do that? It's as though we need to put caps on them, thinking caps, little rubber caps on their heads to stop their thoughts escaping. And it's all pressing back in on them. That's another kind of creative approach. I hope I'm giving you ideas so you can try your own things, because I'm just doing a big wide sweep as I discuss and feel and imagine different solutions. So right now I have a partially overcast sky. The sun is slightly veiled in cloud and there's a lot of heavy cloud around. Let's see how soon with overtones I can get the clouds to move. I can get means I'm inspiring the clouds to be moved. So the air beings that are moving through the air, pushing away, despite the extra condensation help of the cloud seeding, despite that, clearing it away so that we have a clear blue sky and not an overhead cloud-laden sky. Let's just see how many minutes it takes for that to happen. I will now make some sound. Ooh. Well, the sun is starting to blaze through and the blue patches of sky are getting larger. Let's do it again. So while I wait for that to clear and the sun is getting brighter and brighter, I should film this, I suppose, now, so you can see the sunlight. I'm not filming me, I haven't got makeup on, I don't want to, because I'm busy thinking right now without putting lipstick and eyeliner on. Now you can see the sky. That's clouding over a little again, but there's the sun blasting through. Now we want to use this. The question is how? Let's do just for fun and then see what happens. We're going to do a sound that will interfere with the brain waves of the greys operating the bases at Laurel Canyon, Montauk, and Dulce, and Denver. That's just 4 that I happen to have chosen. Now, we won't be able to see the difference. We may feel it, there may be some change. I want to inspire you to play around with this. A lot of this you can't see the difference instantly because we can't get there to see unless you're a remote viewer and you go and have a look. So the first set of sounds, the intention are to stop their brain waves and to literally put a cap around their heads, the way we often have AI caps put on our heads. I'll put a diagram in there to show you one that I detected several months before a remote viewer saw it, and then we got rid of it. I didn't know what I was drawing at the time and then realised later. So we could do that with them. The second thing I want to do is to charge the elementals with occupying those bases so that there's this intensified moisture in the bases. Those guys will not know what to do with it, but it will cause a lot of damage with their technological machinery. They're monitoring and destructive capacities. So they're changing things with weather. They're changing things with our mind, keeping a certain frequency going. They're also targeting, so they're using that same kind of vehicle and possibility to put out their threats and say, we can take you out at any point if you get out of line. So we want to damage that. So we've got the greys with a capping, and we've got bringing in a lot more moisture into the bases to electrically damage their machines, their superconductors and their electricity. Without the cooling, the superconductor quantum computers have great problems in operating. So there's lots of nice little ways we can work on the tiny details. Let's just have a go. Oh, can you see the sun on that? Yes? Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. So that is the interrupting brain capping to these greys so that they actually receive back all of the destructive thoughts. They can't feel them. They're not good at feeling. They don't have emotion. They've schooled it out of their very little remnant souls. But the actual creative energy of destruction that they're constantly putting out is now encapsulated in their bodies. It's going to start dissolving their little brains, dissolving their minds, and causing disease and malfunction, and I'm afraid ultimately passing over. But I'm not afraid, because they've done so much disgusting qualities. They have a chance to redeem themselves at any moment. Okay, now I'm going to call in all of those beautiful southern seas elementals, the air and the water. They are a family. They spread the news. They whisper across to each other. As soon as we connect them in their minds, let me shut that window. As soon as we connect to them in our minds, they start spreading. It's like those bird murmurations. The information gets spread across. And what I would like you to do, my dear friends of the water and the air, I would love you to find ways into the ventilation systems of those bases. They always have outlets and inlets. They always do, because no matter how so-called sophisticated they are, they always need to have fresh oxygen coming in. There's only so very much recycling they can do. I ask you to now move into those vents. I want you to not stay in there. I want you to escape again, go out of the vents, in and out, change the pressure, change the content of moisture in those bases. Bring so much intensity of moisture that it's corrupting the machines from the inside, that the machines cease to function. They're literally incapacitated on the very fine electrical charges that are moving all the time around the circuitry, that they are affected because the water is seeping through. The molecules of water are seeping in and through the computers. I love that so very much. Now make sure you know how to get in and get out. I would not want to have you captured. I love you and value your freedom so much. We're going to need water and wind to work together. The air to push the water. They are friends, aren't you? So I'm asking you, and guide me in the sound that will give you some charge for this, some prayerful request, a charge of energy through from Prime Creation. I command Prime Creator. Give me the ability to excite and incite these beautiful elementals to go and cause their mischief in these bases, so that we ultimately hinder the functioning of the bases and their various negative technologies of control on all sorts of levels, from human mind intervention to drone monitoring and technology to the weather manipulation. I command Prime Creator, enable me to create and receive these sounds for this purpose. I command Prime Creator, enable me to receive and create these sounds for this purpose. On the count of 3, 2, 1.
Interesting. Oh, bright, bright, blazing sunshine, by the way, now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, I want you to build up your strength by playing with your local weather. That will give you the evidence you need to understand that what you do with your voice has charge and potency. And then just dare and do these experiments, even if it's just existing as a thought wave in the creation of consciousness. That has its own power. But actually, I am pretty darn convinced from everything I've seen now that we can really affect some considerable shifts here in the kind of cheeky, innovative, inventive, creative, slightly skulldugerish side of this bizarre battle we're in. Because if they are putting out technology which is suppressing us and oppressing us, imagine being threatened by saying, well, we could just take her out at any second. That's not fun, is it? We get rid of that. We don't want that. We don't want that in anyone's hands. None. Nobody. Shouldn't exist. Dreadful, dreadful stuff. So that's the end of my little treatise, and we'll see how you get on with this. I am Dr. Isabella May, and this is always activating your human potential.